Hello, you have Chris and Eli here from Landlord Gurus. And today we are going to talk about all the things that keep your property manager up at night. And that, in short, is emerging technology that will help you manage your property on your own very simply, easily, and profitably. So first, let us request and remind you that we'd love it if you would follow us, like this video, and sign up for notifications to get new content when we put it out. So we'll let Chris get into the first step.
All right. Yeah. Thanks, Eli. So first, why don't we just talk about what property managers traditionally do for rental property owners like us? So if you were to hire a property manager, kind of what to expect. So if you have never had a property manager before, they're going to do the advertising and showing of your vacancies. They're going to take applications and do the screening of potential tenants, which is going to include like making sure the applicants meet the criteria to be accepted as renters, and checking their income and making sure they have sufficient income to pay the rent. They're going to verify the applicants' identities. They're going to review their credit history, check for criminal background and evictions and other parts of their history, rental history. And they're going to contact rental references. They should, at least, former landlords, employers, things like that. Then once that's done, they have a tenant in place. They're going to create lease documents. And what's important is that those lease documents are going to be compliant with the local rules and regulations for your city and state and nationally. They're going to collect rent, whether that's going door to door and collecting checks, or picking up envelopes, or doing it online. They're going to coordinate maintenance if anything breaks in the apartment, anything needs work. They'll coordinate all that. And then lastly, they will do the bookkeeping and documenting of income and expenses, prepare reports that they can show you, and you can check your profit and loss and that sort of thing. So yeah, in a nutshell, that's kind of what property managers are going to do. And then, yeah, we can break these down and talk about how technology is changing and making this something that we can do on our own.
Right. And let's note that a property manager generally charges from 8 to 10%. And then when there's a vacancy, many of them will charge a percentage of the monthly rent as a turnover fee. And that can be 50% of a month's rent to a full month's rent. So it'll vary.
Yeah, we created a video about this a while back, so you can go find that as well and see exactly what kind of the different price breakdowns are.
Right, exactly. Yeah. So let's see. Let's take each of those steps that Chris outlined for us step by step, and we'll talk about how new technology is making it possible to do all this yourself quite easily. And when we talk about new technology, what we're really talking about for this video is property management software. And we've written about many different products out there and compared, I think it's safe to say, all the leading products. So you can go to our site and see those reviews and comparisons. So first off, advertising and vacancies. As a landlord now, you can go to one of these property management software platforms and create a listing where you write a description. A lot of them walk you right through all of the amenities. You click the boxes for what's included, what you pay for, and what a tenant does. And then the best ones will broadcast, or what's called syndicate, your ad all over the listing sites on the internet. And there are many, 20, 30, 40 of them probably. So services such as TurboTenant and Avail, for example, will send you out to Zumper, PadMapper, Redfin, Apartments.com, Apartments List, and many more. So you're getting in front of a lot of people. And all these sites, as far as we found, offer some form of free listing or options where you can upgrade. And usually what that means is a more prominent ad, larger display, or coming up further up in search results when somebody's renters looking around for a property. And then renters can contact the landlord right there from the listing page, either saying, hey, I'm interested, let me know. In some cases, if you enable this capability, which I generally don't, the applicants can apply directly from the listing page. I like to do some pre-screening ahead of time so everybody knows whether or not this is really a potential, but you can turn that on so you automatically get applications.
And in some cases, they can even schedule a showing as well, straight from that.
Right. Super handy. Yeah. Yeah. As a landlord, you set up the windows, the time windows when you're available, and then they can go and schedule it. Yeah. So from there, ideally, after you've shown them the property, which you can now do virtually as well, you can upload videos to your listings, or you can do virtual tours where you're there and they're on video. Or what I've just done recently with a property that's 3 hours away is to set up a Wi-Fi lock and a Ring doorbell camera. And then I was able to facilitate people self-touring. So again, technology, is enabling us to do a lot of these things.
Yeah.
So. Next up is applications and screening. Super easy. From your listing page, from your dashboard on one of these platforms, you've got a link that you send to anybody who you'd like to have apply. They fill out what's a fairly standard application online very, very quickly, 5 or 10 minutes, and you can write custom questions often. And then they pay directly for screening reports, which are generally criminal background, evictions, and credit reporting of some kind, either a full credit report or an abbreviated report. People do it different ways, but they pay directly, and then all that comes straight to you, and you've got in front of you who this person is. Often they upload ID so that and you've got credit history and lots of data on what their prior behavior is and how they're likely to be.
Right.
Tenant. Yeah.
And once they submit this online, how long does it generally take to get the results back?
Minutes.
Yeah.
Or instant,
Sometimes, yeah, it's great. Okay.
Yeah, it's just like sending an email.
Yeah.
And then once you've accepted one of these applicants, you can move them into lease signing, or filling out all the documents and signing them online. So the really good platforms have either 50 state-specific leases, and sometimes more granular down to the city level leases where they're customized to where you are. And straight from your applicant's data, which they've input, and you don't have to, you can pre-populate those lease documents, set all your terms, pricing and deposit, and when the late fee is due and all that type of thing. And then you send it off to them to sign electronically. Both TurboTenant and Avail now do allow you also to upload your own documents, which sometimes you have either house rules or local provisions that aren't included. So that's handy. And you can sign those electronically. So there's no paper going back and forth. You don't have to meet at the property and comb over a lease.
Exactly. Yeah. The tenants can look at it at their own, leisure and, comb over it on their own without, you kind of standing there hovering over them, waiting for them. And it's more comfortable for everybody involved. It's great.
Yeah. Yeah. Saves on gas too.
Exactly.
And paper.
Yeah, and paper, all the printouts. And one thing that we also have partnered with a company called Azebo, and they, for their lease documents, and again, like some of these others that you talked about, they have the state-specific leases, but they've also partnered with various different rental housing associations around the country. And so what that means is if you're already a member of one of these and you're already paying for access to these specific leases and documents and forms, that with their partnership, those forms sort of, once you log in, kind of get automatically uploaded into your dashboard. So you're using those leases and those documents that are specific to your locality and to your need. And so it's an interesting partnership, and we haven't seen that happen with many other of these lease signing companies, but it makes it super easy if you've got that. I know that not everybody does, but if you do, it just brings it all into one spot. And
they also have the 50 state leases where they don't have the particular partnership. So they've got a really robust lease offering.
Exactly.
Cool. All right, Chris, you want to take it from there?
Yeah. So, I'll move into collecting rent. So once those lease documents are signed, these property management software platforms, what they'll do is they'll prompt both the landlord and the tenant to get the rent payments set up. So, landlords can designate, one or multiple bank accounts that you want the money to go into. Tenants, all they need to do is just input their bank information, and they can set up automatic payments if they want. They can set up reminders, things like that. All these things kind of help that tenant pay their rent on time. So you're not reminding people or waiting for payments, anything like that. So it just kind of happens automatically and you get your money on time. And so there are other products out there, if you just want a rent payment platform, there's ones that specifically just do rent collection, such as Pay Rent, if you don't need the advertising of the leases and all that kind of stuff as well. So you got options. We talked about maintenance, dealing with all the maintenance requests and the maintenance issues can be a pain point for many landlords. And it's hard to find good service providers and get all the coordination done with the tenant and with your vendors to get into the property. So this property management software will help this process by, it sort of creates a central communication point where you can, send off the request to your vendor. They can communicate with the tenant for, times where they can enter the apartments. They can upload photos, both the tenant, if there's an issue, they can upload photos. The repair person can then upload photos once they've made the fix. And so it's great to be able to do all this in one kind of central
hub. It's kind of a
hub.
communication hub.
Yeah, exactly. And some of these platforms, a lot of them, actually will kind of have a job tracking and reminder kind of system built in as well. So you can kind of see that, okay, well, step one's been done, step two's been done, the tenant's been notified, and you can see exactly where you're at. And then, along those same lines, when with the billing and all that kind of stuff that comes along with it, a lot of these platforms have robust bookkeeping and accounting systems within their platform where it obviously will record the rent payments. You're collecting rent online, so all that will get recorded as rental income. A lot of them, if you can pay your vendors through the system, so those expenses automatically get tracked. Or if you're doing something offline, you can input those expenses and upload receipts and keep all that in your property management platform as well. So companies like TurboTenant, RentReady, Stessa, Landlord Studio, there's a bunch of others. They all offer this sophisticated and kind of user-friendly accounting software. And what the difference between those and like QuickBooks is that it's, they're developed specifically for landlords and specifically for rental property investors. So, it's the categories are pre-made, they're pre-filled out, it's sort of geared straight for us. So you don't have to deal with all the other complicated stuff that you might not need with QuickBooks. So those are sort of the main features of many of these, of the technology and the software that's out there right now.
Right. Right. And we should note, Chris, that many of the companies that we've talked about are affiliate partners of ours, and we're open about that. There are lots of them. We've talked about lots and lots of the products that are out there on our site, and we'd love it if you went there to read our reviews and comparisons. So thanks, Chris. That wraps up the overview of each of the tasks that go into managing property and how each of those that a traditional property manager would perform for you at considerable expense, you can now do much more easily than in the past using these newer technologies. And we've reviewed and compared, like we said, many of these products on our site on landlordgurus.com, and we'd love it. First, if you would subscribe, like this video, subscribe to our channel, and sign up for notifications. And then please go to Landlord Gurus and sign up for our newsletter there, or just browse around. And we think that there's lots of information there to help you make decisions about all kinds of things. But if you do think property management software is interesting, we've tried to really lay it out there and give you what you need to make a decision.
Yeah, it's all super easy. The articles are there. They'll kind of describe in more detail, but you'll see that we can all do it, right? And we don't need to have those property managers if we don't want to. We can use this stuff and make it work for ourselves really well.
Right. And these products are generally have a free level, and even if you subscribe to some of the bells and whistles, it's very affordable. So yeah. Okay. Well, thanks for being with us today. And again, please follow us, and we'll look forward to seeing you next time. Thanks very much.
See you soon.